Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a special piece that I've bought for the third time now. I had it originally back when I started this channel. It's the first figure I ever bought in 1/6 scale, the first figure I ever did a video for on YouTube, and it's the one that started it all of it, you know. This is the one. And the first time I owned it, I modified it quite heavily, and I don't know quite what happened to that. I find parts of it around from time to time. And then the second one I bought to keep minty fresh because I loved it so much. I just wanted to have one mint in box, and eventually I gave in and sold that one. So recently I decided to get this back after getting the terrible most recent Hot Toys Batman Begins 1/6 scale figure to review. It made me want to get this back to do a review on this very old figure, which got a lot more right than the most recent Hot Toys one. So lovely artwork. Box is pretty bashed up. eBay seller said it was brand new. Great condition, but the box has seen better days. It's all dented and scratched and creases and all kinds of madness going on. Right, so I wanted to shoot the beginning of the video like this because I have to assemble him, and it's quite a nice assembly with this piece. It's quite fun to do. You get all the accessories there. I like the brick wall with Batman Begins. That's quite a nice little bit of art there. It's simple, but I like it. So you got your hands, your batarangs, your grapnel gun, the attachment to put the grapnel gun on the belt, the harness, the ski mask. You get Bruce Wayne in the bat suit there with the belt, the Batman cowl sculpt, and the neck. It's unfortunately with this old Takara Batman Begins figure, the head and the neck are two separate pieces, which obviously it should not be for Batman Begins. But you know, that bugged me back in the day when I first got this, but this is still such a great piece, and it's a real piece of my history, and it's great to have it back here. It's still got one of the best official capes ever, the Takara Batman Begins cape, and yeah, I'm going to take them out for you, put them together, and we can take a look back at an absolutely classic Batman figure. Unfortunately, because I think once a channel on YouTube is inactive for a number of years, it just gets taken down by YouTube. There was a YouTube channel called Night Slade 2007, and he inspired me a lot with his Batman Begins Takara video showcase that he used to do, and Movie Freaks Reviews. That was another channel that did a video on this back when it came out. And those, I went looking, but I couldn't find any of those videos anymore. So that was another reason I kind of felt an urge to get this back, so that I could review it now in 4K HD and give you like the definitive look at a classic 1/6 scale figure that got a lot of things right that companies, even to this day, still aren't getting as right as this one did. So you got a nice little protector there. Here is Bruce Wayne in the Nomax survival suit, and the head sculpt is very old. It's not up to the standard of the Hot Toys and Sideshow and Caustic Plastic and Blitzway and all those guys. Even NECA are doing amazing work now. This actually, Bruce Wayne head has a lot of purple staining on his face. I need to get in touch with the eBay seller because this is weird. He is covered in purple staining. So I'm going to have to take a picture of that and get a partial refund because the box is shredded and Bruce Wayne's face has got purple dye all over it. So that's not good. Not that I'm going to be displaying him as Bruce Wayne or anything. And here is the awesome Batman Begins cowl sculpt, which, you know, it's a shame it's not one piece with the neck like it should be, but for when it came out, it's a really good likeness to Christian Bale in the cowl. So let me just get these bits out here, and here's the beautiful cape, which is absolutely awesome. It's the perfect cut and shape. I used to use this as a stencil when I was making my velvet capes. Before any of the custom cape people started doing theirs, literally I remember I had the idea to, like, it was a big velvet dress I managed to get my hands on, and I used this to cut around and make a 1/6 scale velvet black cape for my Batman Begins figure. And then months passed, I started getting messages from certain people asking how I was doing it, And I stupidly just told them, and then custom capes started happening. They were charging like £100, $100 each, and all that stuff. But it was actually done on this channel first. I'll get this out of the way. Hope you're all having a great Christmas so far, everyone. Got a Christmas sweater on for you. We'll just take off the heavily stained Bruce Wayne head, which the seller will be hearing about later. Yes. So, here we go. Alright, so here is the beautiful cape. Just make sure we put it on the right way up. Yep. That just goes over the top there, and it can wrap around the front beautifully. It's one of the only official Batman capes that can do what you need it to do, especially for Batman Begins. It's got a really nice weight to it, and it falls perfectly. All the custom cape makers, you would assume that they're using this as their foundation of where they started getting the idea for how the material should be, because Takara got it right all those years ago, and Hot Toys are still giving you the crap they're giving you. So now we put this bit here, but I need something to push the cape. Let's see, this is a bit of a pain in the butt having to, you have to mess around a little bit so that the material doesn't show underneath here. Let me just do this. Let's pull that over here. Worry about that later. Then we just put the Batman head on here. Let's press down. There we go. And there you have it. He's assembled now with a beautiful cape that can, you know, be pulled around, which is weird to do from this angle. But yeah, you can do it a lot better than that. But it's a beautiful cape, and it allows you to do the proper moody Batman Begins brooding look. I'll have one side showing the suit. And one side hanging down over the front. Move the head around wherever you want. And it's a great piece. That is so stained. God damn. Alright, so I'll go over in a minute and film this like I usually do. But I just wanted to stand here and just look at it with you guys. And he looks to be leaning a little bit to one side. I just need to straighten him up a little bit. I'm just taking him out of the box. But the gauntlets on this Takara figure are shinier than the Hot Toys ones. In some ways that's more accurate, but they're a little bit too shiny. The belt is not the right tone exactly. The suit has a nice finish to it. It's somewhere between a matte finish and a slight shine, with the lights right on him. It's making it look a bit more shiny than it really is. The proportions are a bit out of whack, you know, they're a little bit all over the place. But this figure has its charms, and that's kind of one of its charms for me, is the kind of more action figure kind of proportions on him. He's kind of like a G.I. Joe Batman Begins in a way to me. He reminds me of those figures I grew up with in the 80s. But let me zoom in. Take a look here. I mean, I think it's a really good likeness. You know, we'll get a closer look in a minute and you'll see the paint job ain't up to much, especially compared to this stuff these days, but really looks like Christian Bale to me. And considering that's the stock cape, it's got an absolutely beautiful flow to it. Alright, so we'll get up close and personal now with the Gen X Core 1/6 scale Batman Begins figure by Takara. Drop a like on this video, don't forget to subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at DeanKnight333. And here it is. The reason all this happened. It all started with this guy about 16 years ago. It's a piece of my history. A very important figure for me. And what you're looking at here is a completely stock, fresh out the box, Takara Batman Begins. Now, it looks like over the years and years of being in a box, the suit looks a little bit kind of, I don't know, just showing age. This suit on the figure was always a little bit tacky to the touch, not sticky, but there's just a little something to it where, I don't know, it just feels different to Hot Toys and Medicom, any other figures, you know, that use this type of rubbery suit. But it certainly is tough. But it seems like being in the box for all these years, all covered up in the plastic shells, has had some kind of an effect on him here. But it's somewhere between the kind of matte finish and the gloss look. Certainly not as glossy as Hot Toys' most recent 1/6 scale version of Batman Begins, but certainly not as matte finish as their 2011 Toy Fair exclusive version. It's got a nice sculpt on the belt, but he's got those kind of slimmed down proportions, like a bit more of an action figure kind of look to him, rather than total realism. It is a shame this separation in the neck, but it allows you to do some poses that you couldn't really do with any other Batman Begins figure. Now I'm going to set him up kind of perched on a diorama with a cape wrapped around him. Oh, before I do cover up the suit, let's just take a look from another angle. I've got him on the diorama, I haven't posed him up on it yet, but I was just looking at him from this angle and I thought I'd get it on film, because even though the paint job's not up to much, it still looks really good, and you can definitely tell who that is under there. I can anyway. I think it looks a lot like Christian Bale. And down the brightness a bit. There we go. It's not bad. I mean, yeah, the skin's a bit orangey. He's a bit Trumpish. But yeah, I can definitely tell who that's supposed to be. It's a damn shame they did the neck and the head as two separate parts, because if this was a more accurate sculpt of the cowl, I think to this day it would be one of the most accurate. Just needs a better paint job and a more accurate sculpt on the neck, but really nice looking. It's quite short ears, not too long. We'll also say this idea seems to have been kind of carried over onto Hot Toys stuff now, where they kind of do the Batman boot as like a shoe, and then the rest of the boot is kind of a separate piece. That allows you to get a lot more pivot and forward and back movement on the Takara foot here. So I just saw that now, and that reminded me of how Hot Toys do it now. His gauntlets are very shiny, but I like that. I mean, I might still use these on one of my more high-end ones. You don't have to worry about using the right gloss spray or paint or any of that stuff, because if you have the Takara, you can just borrow his. And that's one thing that makes this one even more accurate than the latest one by Hot Toys, is that transition between the more glossy gauntlets and the more matte finish of the suit. I mean, just this kind of shot here aside from how kind of thin he is in the waist area. It looks really good. Alright, so here he is with the cape just kind of naturally falling around him. It really captures the vibe of Batman from Batman Begins. Hangs really naturally. And that's the stock cape. And that's from like 2007 or something. Maybe even 2006. Yeah, so 2006. So 16 years ago. This figure is 16 years old. Which means my channel is 16 years old. Which freaks my brain out. I don't get it. How the hell does time go that quickly? 16 years, folks. The power of the image coming through the lens right now at me, and knowing what it started, and all the friendships and the amazing experiences I've had since starting the channel. Well, some of you guys out there have just been the most amazing folks. Some really good people out there. You know who you are. But a lot of history all started at the beginning with this figure. This awesome figure. Alright, so I'll put him on the rotating base in a sec, but can't remember if I mentioned, but the diorama that he's standing on is the Spider-Man 3 Hot Toys diorama from some years ago, and that base down there is the DC Collectibles Batman Begins base. He does not come with a stand, but he stands up really well. He's got very stiff joints and ankles. Even after all these years, he's standing up just fine. You'd never really need to use a stand with him. It's a beautiful looking piece, man. It really still has the power. It possessed it strong back in the days, and it still holds on to it. It still has that wow factor, especially for the hardcore Batman Begins fans. If you don't have it, and if you can spot one on eBay like I did for a semi-reasonable price, but considering the condition it's actually turned up in, I've already sent the guy a message just asking for a little bit of a partial refund just to make me feel a bit better. We'll see what happens there, but it's still worth getting. It's still worth getting. It might scratch the itch until someone else out there releases a much better, more accurate 1/6 scale Batman Begins figure. Oh, we'll just get a look at him turning on the rotating base. It's a beautiful piece, man. It really does have its charms. I know by today's standards, most folks will look at this and be like, nah. But trust me, back in the day, 16 years ago, when there wasn't any of the options from Hot Toys, I think around this time they had done their very first Batman Begins, but this was actually, well, the original Hot Toys Batman Begins. I've never owned it, but I've seen pictures and it didn't look too bad. Medicom had one as well. The Hot Toys one had a massive cape, really oversized, really too long, like way longer than this one is, I think. But the sculpt wasn't too bad. The paint was about, this kind of level where it was definitely in need of an upgrade. But I mean, everyone was doing their bit back when Batman Begins came out. All the companies were jumping on it and doing stuff, and I tried to grab what I could, and I was very new to the game, so I was just using YouTube videos from like Slade 2007 and Movie Freaks reviews and other OGs like that. Maybe even Mike Echo had this, I think. But it's a classic piece, man. And I'm very glad to have him back here where he belongs. The cape just falls really naturally and nice. Let's see if I can get a nice low angle. Articulation wise, the shoulders, the rubber suit, I mean, it really kind of, you try to raise the arm at the shoulder and it just pushes it back down again. Maybe back when this first was released and 16 years ago, it would probably have held the poses a bit better, but he's just been sitting in the box. Elbow bend is good, but the rubber suit fights against you, so this is about as action packed as I can get him to go. I did kind of spread the legs apart a bit. There's a good pivot in the ankle, so but maybe years ago he was able to do like high kicks and all that kind of crazy stuff. But my one here, the rubber suit is just kind of pushing everything kind of back where it needs to be. I've got another little pose happening here. I like this one. Got the cape coming up around the arm. I was trying to raise that other fist up a little bit, but the rubber suit was fighting against me. So articulation is not great, to be honest. You know, it's an old piece, and that rubber suit is thick, heavy duty. It doesn't really want to let you do much, but you can still get him looking pretty sick. So it balances really well. Ankles are really strong. His feet look a bit big, but that just kind of comes with that charm of him being more of a action figure kind of look, rather than that super realism that most of the companies are going for now. This was before I remember being shocked by how real pictures of a figure looked. It was the Bank Robber Joker by Hot Toys. That was the first one. I remember the day I was at work and I saw that on Facebook. The first picture of the Bank Robber Joker with the bank behind him. It looked like a movie still. And that was the one that changed it. After that, figure started to look very real. But this guy was amazing for the time. And I still think he's pretty amazing now. I stuck his arm straight out. So there's definitely still some decent movement in him. From the looks of things, you could definitely get away with a few fight poses, throwing punches. He's a tough figure, he always was. He still is. I just tweaked the pose a bit, but it looks fantastic. That'd be really nice to display him like that. He'd draw attention, even amongst all this modern, up-to-date stuff. You know, Batman fan comes in, they see this, they'd be like, ooh, that's nice. That's what I imagine anyway. I mean, it's impressing me looking at it here through the old camera. Looking pretty sweet. I know it's very dark, but I wanted to show you something. This was what I did back in my old place when I first got this figure all those years ago. And after, I can't remember if it was the same evening, I think it came after I got back from work. He was there when I got back from work, and I opened him up and I was just appreciating him, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to turn off all the lights in the room. And I'm actually just using one of my lights here above. When I actually tried it for the first time, it was a torch. Turned off all the lights in the room and I just held up a torch above the figure, so a beam of light was coming from above, and I knew it would look cool, so I took a picture of it on my camera phone at the time, and that's what started the photography and the making videos. That was my first video on YouTube, was a 1 minute long little showcase video on this guy, well, the original one that I owned, and it was very dark pictures, just really moody stuff like this. So this is the one that started it all. this is what he looks like standing next to a Hot Toys 1/6 scale Batman figure. This is obviously Michael Keaton on the right from Batman Returns, a much more recent figure. But height-wise, that's how they look side by side. It's a damn shame. I was trying to see if the Ben Choi head sculpt would go on this, because I really want to use this one. So, unfortunately, I think it might be a case of the kind of depth from his back of his shoulders to his front beginning of the chest there is a bit too far apart for this to press down all the way. It's a shame because it almost works. There might be a way to get it done, but I reckon that would have been really cool to get the Ben Choi sculpt on the Takara Batman figure, but it's not quite working. I'll let you know about that in the future if I ever manage to get that happening, because even with his slightly kind of action man proportions, I'd still love to use this head sculpt on this setup here. Beautiful cape. I love the colouring of the, I know it's got a bit of a shine to it, but it's not too bad in some scenes. It does look a bit shiny, nowhere near as bad as the Hot Toys one, but I'm fine with it on the Takara. I think it's a really nice look. It's not too bad. I took away the cape, and if you press it down, it does go a bit more in position. There's still a gap here, you can feel it, like it's not pressing down as far as it should, but that is because this bit here juts out a fair bit. That's what's stopping the cowl from going on there. Otherwise, I could definitely do it. It's a shame, because I think it would look badass. And it's interesting, because I just noticed as I was feeling this, the front of this suit here is like a usual, rubber suit, 1/6 scale Batman Begins kind of situation, the same as a lot of companies have been doing it. But this part on the back, this is like a hard plastic. This section here, it's like a hard plastic, all of this. Now I'm not going to destroy the figure for the sake of trying to put the Ben Choi sculpt on here, but I could Dremel this down a bit and then it would slide on and you wouldn't see it because the cape would be on there all the time. But I don't really want to do that. This is the third time I've owned this, and this time I kind of just want to leave him stock because he's such an important piece. Look at that, it's beautiful. Beautiful. So that's a shame, it's a damn shame. But it's fine, we'll just keep him completely stock with the original head sculpt. Okay folks, so my final thoughts are, I love this figure. It's got a lot of history with me, so got the sentimental nostalgia attachment going on there, and it's going to affect the way I feel about it. I think the packaging is a really cool choice for the artwork, and you can see on the box they show some battle damage on his chest and just on the side there by the ribs. So I don't really remember in the movie Batman having this kind of battle damage on him, but I guess it could be because he did have pretty much a sword fight with Ra's on the train or the monorail at the end of the film, and all the ninjas attacking him in the third act and stuff. But packaging, I would give a 8 out of 10. Very good. The figure itself, considering when it was released 16 years ago, and the fact that this was one of the very first 1/6 scale Batman Begins figures. I don't know if it was before the very first Hot Toys one, not sure which one came first, and there was also the Medicom as well, so someone out there will know. I just need to do a bit of research really, but this was definitely one of the very first, and it's still, in my opinion, one of the best, even though it has aged. But I'm sure most hardcore Batman Begins fans would look at that and think, yeah, that's a really good figure from when it was done, So I love it. The figure, I'm going to give... I've got to give it a 9 out of 10, which is excellent. And I know he has the split in the neck. I know the paint job could be better, but for when it was done, I guess they made the choice. They just wanted you to be able to move his head around and still try and keep the thickness of the neck, which they did do. It is quite thick. But, if it was a fully sculpted neck, like it should be, then I'd seriously be thinking about a 10 out of 10, because it's such a beautiful piece, man. They got so much right. The cape is amazing, and still Hot Toys have never done a cape this good for a Batman figure from the Dark Knight trilogy. This is still the one to beat all these years later. So I think he's excellent, and that's a 9 out of 10. I really do. Let me know what you think in the comments. Consider picking one up if you're a big Begins fan. I definitely recommend it. And I hope you guys are having a great Christmas. Next up will be the Iconic Studios 1/6 scale Ryu figure review. I cannot wait for that. Something really different and exciting. But I've really enjoyed bringing you this video, folks. Got my Batman Begins book on the side there. That's my favourite poster or any promotional image for Batman Begins. So I've got my big poster up there. But yeah, I got that book recently on eBay. It's the official movie guide. Some really good pictures in there, folks. I might have to show you those at some point. Some pictures I've never seen before. Let's just give you a quick little zoom in before we go. Oh, it's a really good likeness. I know the paint job could be a lot better, but for when it was done, you can really tell that's Bale in there. They really captured the mood. It's a really great piece. 9 out of 10 for sure. Stunning cape. Nice transitions between the tones here with the gauntlets and the suit, the belt, the cape. Alright. Hope you enjoyed it, folks. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, share it around, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at DeanKnight333. Have a great Christmas. I'll see you soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.